And we are live. Hi and welcome everyone to this live session. My name is Cindy and this is part of my channel From 9 to Why, where we explore the why behind the career choices we make and how small doable changes can make our work days more enjoyable, both at work and at home. Today I am joined by my co-host Jasmine Larsen. Jasmine Larsen and I are talking about something many people experience but rarely put into words: the third shift.
First of all, thank you, Cindy, for having me. I look forward to discussing this interesting topic, the third shift. And this is a term researchers use to describe all the mental, emotional, and organizational work behind everyday life. Basically, the project management of the household.
So, what are the third shift we are talking about? Well, it's the first shift is the paid work that we do. The second shift is the work we do at home, like cooking, cleaning, laundry, driving, shopping. And then there's the third shift. This is the invisible work, the responsibility of planning, coordinating, remembering, predicting, or organizing.
And that basically means keeping track of school, kindergarten, planning meals, remembering birthdays, budgeting, planning trips, weekends, holidays, and being the one anticipating the needs before they even come up.
So research shows that even in a couple who believes that things should be equally, the third shift often falls on only one person. And I was wondering, Jasmine, when did you first realize you were carrying the invisible load at home?
Oh, it's probably 10 years ago now, but I remember it as if it was yesterday. And it was probably the first night when my son spent the night with his grandparents. I remember how well I was sleeping that night, because I realized that when the kids are at home, you have this switch that was always on. I was sleeping, constantly thinking about, so do I hear something? Is he awake? Is all well? Is he breathing properly? All these thoughts that kind of keep you awake, but also have asleep. So I remember when they had him the first night, I thought, I cannot do anything about it. He is in their care, and I could just turn that switch off. So that was probably the first time I realized.
And what kind of thoughts are constantly running through your mind at that point?
I think now also when the kids are older, there are other things that you think about, such as, if you leave somewhere, my husband will take the kids and put them in the car and they will wait there for me. I'll go through my checklist of making sure that, everything in the kitchen is turned off, the doors are locked, the lights are off, the dog has everything he needs, does everyone have their jacket with them? And then I would think, okay, what will happen? Where are we going afterwards? What do they need? And then mentally just go through my list, and tick all the boxes. And it's not just, I think we think like that all the time. It's not just for one activity, it's for everything in life. Soccer games, or just going to work, leaving the house, going on vacation, things like that. How is it for you, Cindy? What does it look like in your everyday life?
It's for me. It starts. It starts the day before, checking the calendar, knowing if there's any practice the day after, if there's any meeting appointments to be attended to, what they're gonna have for lunch. So it's a constant planning, so things run smoothly, so things are easier the day after.
Mm. Do you ever feel like your mental energy is already half used before the workday even begins?
Yeah, I often do. When even before doing any physical work, this is what's happening. The mental load, the mental
Mm.
energy I use to prepare everything, to be prepared, to predict what's gonna happen, to make the day easier. And it's kind of contradictory because I'm already I'm already a bit tired mentally when it's the purpose of it is actually to make the day easier.
Mm. I would love to hear a man's point of view if they get stressed listening to us now, or or if they are surprised, or you know.
Do they even experience that in there? Because I mean, nowadays family structures are a bit changed. You find also men
Mm.
that are uh, single fathers that has
Absolutely.
to carry this same mental load. And does that even change their point of view of what the woman does uh, on a constant level?
Mm. Absolutely. Um, Maybe we should do this again and have a man on the live stream as well to get
That would be
the other
very
side of
interesting
it.
to have another point of view.
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we had another topic within the third shift, and that's also how it looks like in our everyday life, but also career mothers and society in 2025. So, uh, Jasmine, do you think today's work culture is designed with family life in mind?
Well, from a Norwegian perspective, I think that a lot of things have been done right on a practical level. We have a very strong welfare system. Fathers are required to take parental leave for a minimum amount of time, and we have parental leave up up to 1 year. So on paper, I would say the structure is very supportive. But at the same time, our economy is built on the assumption that both adults work full time. And this also creates pressure because the emotional and organizational work of family life doesn't disappear. So, what is interesting is that some recent Norwegian research shows that women women in all ages, but mostly between 30 and 40 years old, uh, their sick leave, their percentage of their sick leave increases with their educational level. So let's say they have 4 years of a university degree, they will have more than double the percentage of sick leave than a man with the same education
Mm.
does. So it tells us something important. They don't know exactly why that is, but I, maybe this is something that has to do with the third shift. Also in Norway, we need 2.1 children per woman to sustain, or per family to sustain society. And today we're far below that. So
What do you think that
maybe it
is?
tells us that life is not sustainable, even with all the practical systems in place.
Well, life has become a bit more expensive while the salary remained the same. The cost of life is still a lot, and if we take in consideration the kindergarten, and it doesn't appeal to have more kids.
Mm. Yeah.
But do you feel that women are trying to live inside a system that was never designed for them?
Yeah, a little bit. I think that it's the system is built around a very linear idea of productivity. But for women, lives are not linear. If you look at hormonally, men are perhaps a bit more linear while women are not. One week you feel like you can save the world, and the next everything feels like
You want to go to sleep.
the complete opposite, right? So it's I guess in that sense, women have to adapt to a system that, where work is a bit more linear, and there's a bit of a mismatch, perhaps. What do you think, Cindy? Do you think the expectations placed on women today are realistic?
Hmm. That's a difficult question. Interesting also to answer. Realistic, yes. That's maybe a bit controversial, but realistic, yes, because well, that's exactly what we're doing. We are living the expectation, and we are also choosing uh, the role that is automatically placed on us. So it is both a choice, but and realistic because we're doing it already. Is it fair? However, I don't think so, because as women, we are expected to be managing the kids and be predicting and be compassionate, be present more than the men are. So yeah, realistic, yeah, and fair, no.
But do you think then the constant mental load changes how women experience both work and motherhood?
Yes, absolutely. Because before being a mother, you don't know about this third shift. You don't know about the work that is really required of you as a woman and as a mother. Because before having kids, you take on this romanticized idea about having kids. Oh, gonna bake cookies. We're gonna have fun, and I'm gonna dress my daughter. We're gonna play football with my son. But the work behind everything to realize this is a lot, and before you know, you're already tired and too
Mm.
tired to make those cookies. Most
Mm.
probably. We have
Absolutely.
actually a comment.
Oh,
So Carlos Pollo 4349 says, we have our own version of the third shift, maybe. We worry with different things, like more manly things, like car fixes and etc.
that is very true. That is very true.
We had discussed earlier, you and me, about like the differences between being a man and a woman, and there are, I mean, we can't deny the fact that men and women are different, both physically and hormonally. So of course we're gonna have different roles
Mm.
inside of our workday, but also at home.
Mm.
So even though we are talking about equality, I think equality should stand on our value, equal respect.
Mm.
When it comes to the workload, I think it should be shared, where both men and women take on the mental load of the household.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say would be some, it's probably not the right word, but solutions or things one could do to, make the third shift a bit easier, perhaps?
Well, like I was saying, it's dividing, delegating to
Mm.
adult member of the household, and even age appropriate tasks for the kids.
Mm.
I think that women often do not ask for help because it's easier to just do it.
Mm.
But I think with a little bit of communication and work, asking for help might be good for the woman to and good for the household in general to make it work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also perhaps change one's own mindset a little bit. Maybe lower the standard a little bit and think that, uh, good enough is enough, perhaps.
Yes.
But then also when it comes to society, um, it's um, it's good that a lot of research has been done, but also that there's a lot more focus on this now,
Mm.
and that they can connect the dots between the different types of research they've done and find out why the sick leave is so much higher for a woman than for a man,
Oh,
etc.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So, what about involving our kids? Making also, if we're talking about making changes in society, it has to start with teaching our kids
Absolutely.
what this mental load is, both for girls to learn about it, but also for boys. Why? How do you think that applies to you, who has already two boys?
I have two boys, you have three girls.
Yes.
So we will have different types of um, tactics, I guess. But it's important for them to be aware of this growing up, and also appreciate the differences and value the differences that are between a woman and a man. But I think, like you mentioned earlier, just to have a good communication about things and learn about the other gender, because we are so different, right? So teaching them now and making sure they are aware of it when they grow up is important
Mm.
from for my boys, I guess. What are you thinking with your three girls? Because
Yeah, I think it's really important to teach them the value of asking for help when
mm,
they need it, to delegate. I think it's also very important to teach them how it is okay to be selfish, not selfish in a point that you have to only think about yourself, but think about taking care of yourself, have some me time, do things that are solely yours, so you do have a little bit of energy to drive from when you need it, especially for the mental load.
mm,
Yeah, like we're talking about a bit earlier, the plane situation where you have to put on the mask, the oxygen mask, before you put it on your kids, and that I think is very important. To take care of yourself enough so they actually see that it's important, but also so that you have enough energy to cope with everything else
mm,
outside of our work hours and our chores.
absolutely.
So, well, sadly, our life comes to an end. This is a very interesting topic.
Hmm.
We just want to say thank you for being here and taking the time to reflect with us on this important conversation. Uh,
Thank you so much for having me, Cindy, and thank you all for being with us today. If you recognize yourself in this, you're not alone. And please leave a comment and share if this has touched you in any way and share your experience with us.
so, if you feel exhausted, it might not be because you're failing, it might be because you're caring too much. Feel free to leave a comment, share your thoughts, and tell us how the third shift shows up in your own life. Your experiences matter, and this is the space where you are welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reflecting with us. And we hope this discussion has given you something meaningful to carry into your own everyday life. We look forward to connecting with you again. See you in the next one.